If you want to participate, contact me at ordinarywomenpodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure you have great projects to brag about. You can also follow me and message me on Instagram at ordinarywomenpodcast, on Twitter at ordinarywomenpc, or on Facebook on the page Ordinary Women. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Ordinary Women. I'm welcoming Andra today. Hi Andra, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good and thank you for welcoming me today.
Thank you so much for being here. Really excited. Can you start by giving us a quick introduction of yourself, please?
Yes, of course. I'm Andra Nake. I'm originally from Romania, currently living in London since 2019. I have a background in PR, communication and HR, but currently I'm working more towards coaching and psychology. I'm working to be a couple therapist in the future.
So interesting. I hope we get to hear more about this. Is there anything unusual about you?
I really love adventure, so I love to do extreme sports, some would call them, like skydiving, scuba diving, bungee jumping. So every time that I have the opportunity to do something different, I'm up for it.
Amazing. Wow, I could never. I'm glad that some people do.
I'm sure you could.
I don't think so. Just hearing about that, I'm like terrified. When was the last time you did something like this?
Well, last year I went scuba diving.
Wow.
Yes, I think I reached 20 meters under the
wow.
water. Yes, I'm still a beginner, let's say, but I would like, it's in my plans to go more and more and probably go deeper and deeper in time. It's literally another world.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, even 20 meters, you must see so many different things. Unusual that you wouldn't know.
Yeah, fishes and it's so peaceful. You feel like a mermaid.
So cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Obviously, in this podcast, we talk a lot about what it's like to be a woman. So I'd like to start by asking, was there a moment or an event in your life when you realized that you are a woman?
I think I never questioned or thought about that, especially when I was a kid. My parents gave me the opportunity to do lots of activities, not only girlish activities, let's say. My friends many times would be boys. I would play with cars, or I would go karting, or I would do things that maybe were not very girlish. But in time, probably from high school, I started to have more girlfriends or to have my own community. And I think I started to understand more what it means to be a woman. My mom also always taught me different things, so I feel like she gave me the knowledge on what women should know about themselves, about their bodies, about their sexuality, and this I think helped me to feel comfortable as well from a young age with who I am.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you had your mom to make you feel comfortable about that.
Yeah.
And do you grow up with any women role model?
Yes, I think my mom was a big role model for me. I remember that when I was 6 years old, she had a cleaning business. She was cleaning business buildings in general. So I would go with her, and I remember I would tell my teachers that when I grow up I want to be a cleaning lady.
Yeah.
Because I would see my mom doing all this job. It was her own business and so on, and she was really inspiring for me. And then I had also my teachers. They were also a huge inspiration for me in all the time trying to be better, to do the things that I love. So I think I had good basis since I was a child.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's also, so cute to be like, I want to be like mom.
Yeah.
What do you think she taught you?
I believe she taught me that regarding your profession, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as what you do makes you happy and it's an honest job. That's why probably at that age, I didn't care what the job was. I was just seeing that she was happy in what she was doing, and she was putting a lot of strength into making her, let's say, dreams come true in that sense. So that's something that I think she taught me. Yeah, to all the time fight for the things that I want.
Great. And do you currently have any women role model?
I have so many women role models. I mean, every woman that I meet inspires me. Every of my friend inspires me in some sort of way. Maybe I don't have this kind of role model like I aspire to be this one person that I had when I was a child, because I take inspiration from so many people. So from my mom, from my sister, from my friends, from my colleagues at university, many of them are women, from my colleagues from my coaching school, all of them are women. So I think I've been given many communities and interactions with women to learn many things from each one.
Oh, that's amazing. I love to hear that. And yeah, having a community is like so important.
Yeah, it's true, because let's say I am in a sort of way, and many times interacting with different women can teach me something that maybe I haven't explored yet about myself, or something that I was not confident about myself, right? So it's so great how many things you can learn from different women, from vulnerability, strength, courage, calmness, and so on.
Yeah, definitely. Is there one teaching that really sticked with you?
I believe is the connection and the sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I learned over the years, and I see it a lot, is that you can choose to either see other women as your allies or see other women as your enemies. And this can go to professional life, can go in relationships, like we are taught since we are maybe child that, oh, if you like a guy and this girl likes a guy and people are jealous and things like this. But something that I learned is that I prefer to have women as my ally. Like in general, like to be connected, to trust each other, to see the good in each other, to be there for each other, instead of seeing them as enemies or people who could hurt me, let's say.
Yeah, completely. It's so funny because I feel that it's something that we've kind of all been taught in like that sort of like competition and stuff. But when you meet people, everyone is just, or like most people are just so nice and willing to like be good in your life. Yeah, which is really like annoying that we're being taught maybe when we're younger that sort of competition. I mean, I guess that to a level competition can be healthy, but yeah, unfortunately when it like goes beyond that threshold.
Yeah, I believe competition can be healthy when it's more focused to compete with who you were yesterday. Like, how can I be better today than I was yesterday, rather than how can I show these people I'm better than them.
Yeah.
In that sense. And indeed, maybe also the school system and how education is made, it promotes a competitive behavior. But I think this goes in the future, it goes in different areas of life. And I think for women you can see it in beauty standards, or everyone wants all the time to be the most beautiful, right? Have the best skin, have the best body, have the best hair, and so on. Or in terms of relationship, you want to have like the best. I don't know why women all the time think that they have to have the best of everything. And this is where this fear of admitting that sometimes it's okay to not have the best and just have whatever you have and connect with other women to support each other.
Yeah, completely. Definitely agree with that. It's so funny. I don't know if it's like particular to women, but because I see this article popping up on my like Instagram advertisements, and it's from The Economist, and because I don't have a subscription, I can't read it, but it looks really interesting on why are people nowadays not satisfied with being ordinary, and why does everyone, which like obviously is also like a big subject for me, and like I'm always wondering about that. Yeah, I think one day I'll just buy the subscription and then read the article. But it's really interesting. I've definitely also heard about how social media also had an influence on that, because it's not like when you were like, maybe you knew about your village and your city and the occasional pop star from the newspaper or like TV when TV appeared, and you saw like many quite normal people with like everything that they had, the good and the bad, and a few occasional kind of celebrities. But social media really created that. Yeah, you can really choose what you show and you have access to a lot more. Apparently it had also impacts on that, on like being satisfied with your own life.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, at the end, I think it's everyone's decision to show what they want on social media. Many times, why would you want to show a period when you are not very happy? I mean, also in general, in your real life, you wouldn't start calling all your friends, telling them how what a bad day I had, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is something that people just need to accept, that yes, social media is not real. Then there is the other part where people trick the things that they post to make it look even better. Like, for example, in beauty standards, filters that are used everywhere. And I believe that this comes because people are spending more time on social media than with their community. So when you had your community, even if you have social media, you have the people close to you that all the time are gonna make you feel good about yourself, right? Like, oh, what a nice like earrings you have today, or or not only like beauty related praise, but in general, right? Making you feel good with different compliments. While when we detach ourselves from that and what we see is social media, then we start like to compare our life with what we see there. And I think it's really, really important, not only beauty, but for everything, like how people live their life, how people relate to others, their relationships, their career, basically everything.
Definitely, yeah, I completely agree. Thank you so much for sharing about this. And do you think that the lack of representation of women in society had an impact on you?
When I was a kid, I didn't feel that as much because I had many opportunities. As I mentioned before, my parents let me do wherever I wanted. So if I wanted to play with cars, or I had many of my friends were boys, so I was like doing more boyish things. I was doing also more girlish things. I don't know. I was just doing things as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know how they were like stereotyped. But then when I grew more and more and I started to work in different environments, I haven't seen it in the sense of jobs themselves, but rather in the approach of women at work. So I remember at some point I was in an organization and I was applying for a leadership role, and my counter candidate was a male. And I remember my mentor, probably she wanted to, of course, give me the best tips. The tips that she gave me were more like, make sure that your voice is not very high, or make sure that, for example, you could wear pants, so you impose yourself better, or different tips like this, like on how to be present in my speech, how to be more firm, or like things like this. That indeed there is research that says that, for example, that voices that are lower, let's say, people can listen more to them and so on. However, it didn't make me feel very good about myself, in the sense that I was like, why do I have to change who I am? I love dresses and this is my voice. Why do I have to change who I am to, I don't know, to win something or to be liked? And I think that moment particularly stuck with me in how ingrained these stereotypes are, and how we try to adapt the workplace to male, while instead of that trying to make it inclusive for everyone and trying to accept someone as they are, and look at their abilities and not necessarily how they speak or how they dress and things like this.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so sorry that happened. And also, did you end up getting the job?
No, I have not. However, thinking back, when I did the same process at a later time, I realized that it's better to not get a job than to get a job when you are not 100% yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you would have to fake it all the time. So I think I learned a great lesson that I'm going to put myself out there the way I am, vulnerable 100%. If someone wants me, if someone likes me, they like me as I am.
Oh, that's a great lesson. Very wise. I'd like to jump on kind of the second part of this podcast and talk about a project, life achievement, call it however you want, that you did and are proud of. So what do you want to tell us about?
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm working as a relationship coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with people who want to improve their relationships, who want to understand how to relate to their partners better, or also to other people in general, not necessarily romantic relationships. And in order to get there, because also my long-term plan is to be a couple therapist, I'm currently studying psychology. So my project, let's call it like this, is my thesis that I'm doing on couple relations, and mostly focus on how to self-regulate yourself in during couples conflict. So the reason why I wanted to study this topic is because when we see something about couples conflicts in general, like in research as well, but also usually on social media, or when we interact with people in books and so on, majority of the things that we see are about the interaction with the person. So how to communicate better, how to set expectation, how to connect with each other. But for me, there is another really important step, like how can I connect with you if I'm really mad?
Yeah.
Or if I cannot control myself, or if I'm really tense, if I'm really like anxious in this moment, if I'm crying that I cannot stop. How do I move past this moment so I can connect with you? And that's why I decided to study self-regulation, so to understand better how this component can help couples as well.
That is so interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing, self-regulation, but that makes so much sense. I guess it's like really, we do that all the time probably, right?
Yeah, so self-regulation is actually something that is taught also to kids.
Okay.
So for example, this is a skill that they need to develop when they are young, because they probably start to have emotions or different reactions. So parents or educators try to, of course, help children self-regulate themselves. However, and I think we do it as adults in many places, right? If you want sometimes to say something to someone and you stop yourself, or if you feel a bit anxious before a meeting or something, you take 3 deep breaths, for example, to feel better. However, in the context of relationships, it's really interesting to see how this applies when you are in a conflict. So how can I use self-regulation to not let the conflict escalate, but rather to be able to self-soothe myself, so I can engage with you, my partner, in a way that doesn't harm our relationship.
That is so interesting. Yeah, so how did you start? How did you find about this?
Well, I've been passionate about relationships since I was a kid. Like, lots of my friends were all the time coming to me for advice for their relationships. I was even a cupido for like some friends. Two of them are still together.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's really
cool.
interesting. But relationships is a topic that was of interest since I was a kid. Like, I loved books about love and relationships, movies, or different stories, right, about relationships in general. And I think also, of course, my family influenced a lot, because I've seen around me like what to not do in a relationship. Or it made me ask myself many questions, right? Like, why sometimes people, they say they love each other, yet they cannot make it work, right? And I grew up in time with the belief that love is not enough. Love is great, and you can love so many people in this world, but what makes a relationship I would call it successful are many other factors, not only love. So that's how I started to get into relationships and conflict in general, because I think it's there, we cannot avoid it. And I believe that no one teaches you how to act in a relationship. I mean, we are not taught many things like financial like literature or other things, health and so on, but I think relationships should also be a topic that people should learn more. But what people do is that they jump in relationships with probably things they learn unconsciously in their own family or previous experiences, and we expect as a society that people are gonna have fulfilled and happy relationships when there are so many things that you need to know. So one of my aims is to help this knowledge get a bit out there.
That's super cool. And so how do you do that? So yeah, what's the path then? So, because you do quite a few things, right? So you're a coach and you study psychology.
Yeah.
How do they help each other?
Well, they help each other greatly, because with the knowledge in psychology, although as a coach you don't give advice, or your role is not like to tell the person what to do or things like this. However, it's great to know why things happen and why people behave in a certain way, and how especially in the like, for example, self-regulation. Okay, I'm not gonna like go in a coaching session talking to my client about self-regulation. However, having the background of how this works and how this may influence my client, for example, gives me the context to understand what a person may feel and what they may need in that sense. So it's a great combination to have both. The idea is for me that in the future to be a couple therapist, family and couple therapist, so to be able to also do therapeutic interventions with couples, but this will take some years.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. Also, it might be a stupid question, but I don't really understand. What's the difference between a psychologist and a coach?
Yeah, as a psychologist/therapist, first of all, you can help the person solve some deeper, let's say, problems. So you may talk about the past that the person has, you may talk about like behaviors, and through different interventions you want to help the person change specific behaviors or change specific thoughts that they have. Depends a lot by the reason they came to therapy, for example, and also your approach as a therapist. But let's say that in therapy you can dig deep on someone's past as well, while the coaching is more focused on people who have a specific goal that they would like to achieve, and is focused more on the future, on achieving something specific. It doesn't go into pathology or trauma. Most of the coaching sessions, they are through questions. Like, as a coach, I don't lead the process. Is the coachee that leads the process. So there is not something that, okay, last week we discussed this and this week we're going to discuss this or something like this. Of course, therapy is also not that strict, but it goes a bit into different directions. Also, as a coach, you shouldn't give any advice to the person or give your opinion or things like this. The idea is just you believe that the person has the answer in themselves, right? And you just guide through questions for them to get these answers, which is great. Why, like, therapy I think is important, because sometimes people have questions like, why this is happening, right? Yeah. What does this behavior mean? Or why am I acting like this? Why am I thinking like this? And so on. So this is where the psychology background is so important.
Cool, thank you so much. That makes so much sense. I'm glad I understand that. And was there anyone important in doing that? Like whether in wanting to start or in the process, or I don't know.
Yes, I could say that my own relationship is an inspiration for me. I have been with my boyfriend for 5 years, and I could see myself in different ways during the relationship. So I had, for example, a moment in 2020 when, because of different things that were happening in my life, I was really anxious. And the first person that I was reflecting that anxiety to was my boyfriend. And this was like through different things, like the way I was expressing, the needs that I was having, the jealousy on some things. And but I didn't know what was the name, right? I didn't have a name for it. I didn't know it was anxiety. I was just like somehow all the time in a fight mode. And I remember one time, like I told myself that if I don't do something, I think I'm impacting like a beautiful thing in a really negative way. So that's when I started to go to therapy, and that's when I started to of course focus on myself, right? Like, how do I perceive things, how do I see myself, how do I connect my thoughts with my body. That was the first time when I was asked the question, how does it feel in your body? And I was, what do you mean? How does it feel in my body? My body is fine. Like I already told you, this is what is happening. And she was, no, but where does it feel? How does it feel in your chest or in your... And it was really challenging for me to go to that process, but it was really good because I understood that before engaging in a conflict with someone, something happens within me, right? So before I react to what the person says, it's up to me how I receive also what the person said or what the person did or my thoughts, right? So I think this is when I started to see the importance of first regulating my own emotions in my own relationship and seeing how indeed it does make a difference in my own satisfaction in general and the relationship as well.
Wow, yeah, that's so interesting. And also, yeah, I really, I have brave, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like really great to be able to say, hey, like I also have my part of like shared responsibility, and also like, oh, something is not going well with me, let me ask for help, is so, yeah.
Yeah, and actually self-regulation is about that, like seeing your part in the conflict. Because many times also when people go to therapy or a coach, couple therapy, let's say, they'll go, oh, there is something wrong with my partner, you know, fix them, like they need like I want them to be different. And self-regulation is a lot about not that there is something wrong, but understanding how your own reactions, behavior, emotions can contribute to the dynamic of the relationship. And another important fact is that in a relationship, even if one person changes something, the dynamic can change.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't matter, like you don't always need to go to couple therapy. You can also go to do something for yourself. Maybe not even therapy, just learn something, coaching, books, and so on how you can self-regulate yourself before you engage. And I'm sure that there will be changes in the relationship dynamic because you will be changed and you will see conflict different.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you. And what challenges have you faced?
I think one of the challenges is that it's a new topic in general, is not that explored, and usually people still tend to want to change the other person in their relationship instead of looking inwards. We also live in a world where currently I feel that everything, like people are, I'm like this 100%, you either accept me or not. Which I understand the how would say, like the idea of it, but I think that sometimes people take it a bit too literal. Like, of course, you are how are you, the way you are. However, your behaviors they are a different part that you can indeed change. And this is the part that self-regulation like can tackle a lot, how I behave, for example. So I think that is one challenge. And another one is that, yeah, there are not yet so many tools available or so many courses, or there is not much education yet on this topic for people to learn. There may be, for example, now that the trend of attachment styles has passed, I feel that other trends are coming that are not related to self-regulation. However, I don't want it to become a trend, but I think it's an important ability to start teaching more individuals, not even like necessarily in a couple relationship, but if you are in a conflict, or everyone has a specific reaction. Maybe someone tends to be very emotional and cry, maybe someone tends to scream, maybe someone tends to storm out and don't want to talk with the person again, or until they run after them. So the question is, how can you first understand, acknowledge what is your behavior in this situation? And this is the first step of self-regulation, acknowledging the behavior, and then see what healthy behavior you can change it with, in a way that also your body calms. Your body is not tense anymore, and when your body is more calm, then you can engage more calmly in the relationship.
That is so interesting. I mean, yeah, if it ever becomes a trend, I'll think back of you.
Thank you.
And was there, on the contrary, anything that was easier than you thought would have been?
Yeah, I think the easiest part is that everyone needs it. So whenever I've been talking with friends, colleagues in relationship about, because I was asking, what do you think about this topic? And you're, oh my God, yes, please, if you need like someone for your research, bring me in. Like, I want to be part of it, and so on, because I think it's something so common yet so hidden. Like, people don't talk about it, right? People don't, even with friends, how maybe we may complain, let's say, about our partner, but how many times are we honest about how we engage in that conflict, for example? And what do you do to make the conflict as it is, in that sense? Not that, and here I'm not talking about violence or domestic violence or anything like that. I'm just talking like when people start to, for example, have maybe a heated conversation, or even maybe they don't have any conflict, because they both avoid, which is also something that is not necessarily healthy for the relationship. So that's one of the good things. It's present everywhere. Everyone feels that they could benefit, because indeed everyone could benefit from it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, and what you were saying about friends is so true, but I think it's also because of the like function in a way of friends. Like, usually if you go to your friends, it's because you feel bad and they're kind of here to make you feel better. I mean, it also depends on who you're seeking attention or advice, or not seeking advice from.
Yeah, of course. It's just on, I think long term it can create skewed perception of a friends about your relationship. So, and this goes again to acknowledge, because at the end you're not going to talk to your friend about how you engaged in the conflict if you're not even aware of that. If you think that what you're doing is the best thing. So it takes kind of a high level of self-awareness, consciousness to, and this is the hardest part, is not talking to friends. Like, sit down with yourself and just think, I don't think I'm doing it in the best way, and accepting. That's the most uncomfortable part.
Yeah, completely. And why are you proud of this?
I am proud because I think it's a topic that can help and will help in time many couples in general. Going again to the fact that you can have two people who love each other, but they are having problems because, again, love is not enough. There are many things, and I think that self-regulation can bring big change in how you approach yourself, how people relate to each other, and then they have a happy relationship, of course.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I think we're going to conclude our episode on this. Thank you so, so, so much. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention before?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Great. Then thank you so much. It was so interesting. I hope it will be good food for thought for everyone listening on how to be more self-aware.
I hope that too.
Thank you so much. And there is a tradition on this podcast that the guest gets the very last word. So the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Really, it was great talking about this. And if you are interested to learn more about it, you can all the time reach out to me. It's a topic close to my heart. And I hope that more people are gonna learn more about how to have happy relationships. Thank you.